Hello everyone and welcome to ExperTales, a podcast that brings you conversations with innovative leaders. Today we have amongst us Mr. Ganesh Verma, who is the CEO of MoogleLabs that deals with the endless possibilities of blockchain, machine learning, AI technologies. Mr. Ganesh Verma, with his 2-decade-long professional journey, has been leading charge and providing solutions to a global clientele. Today, we are going to learn from his experience and gain some professional insights on how to exceed in a tech world. So let's get started. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, Simran. I'm doing perfect. Thanks for having me on ExperTales.
Perfect,
really
sir.
Honored to be part of this.
I am also excited to have a word with you, sir, since, we've been really looking forward to invite people who are working hands-on in the tech world, which is so drastically changing every day, each second we talk.
Yeah.
So that leads me to a first question, sir. Could you just give a little introduction about yourself and how did you start your journey from a founder, then a director, and then a CEO?
Before founder and CEO or director of an organization, of course, there are many stages as part of this IT scenario, which are to be covered. Yeah, so I started my journey as a developer, deep into technology. And my passion toward technology, that kind of led me to pursue masters in computer science, which further kind of gave me enough fuel to bring in innovation to look towards this technology world. After that, transitioning through multiple leadership roles into area of technology. Now as part of MoogleLabs, as CEO of MoogleLabs. Of course, that has been a long journey, 25 years, I would say. Now great. This company, MoogleLabs, because as you rightly mentioned that this technology is moving at a very rapid pace. Right. And that's the objective, that's the goal of this organization is. That's the intent with which we set up this company. It basically works or looks towards these futuristic technologies, proactively preparing ourselves for these upcoming technologies, changing trends in the technologies, and of course providing solutions in those technologies to customers across the world. Right. That's the core objective, core mission of MoogleLabs, I would say. Just purely working on these futuristic technologies and preparing ourselves upfront for the new challenges or the advancements that are coming up in technology.
Amazing, sir. That's really good to hear. And I think that is an inspiration a lot of us will follow. Which brings me to a question, sir. Since you've mentioned you've dealt with a lot of technologies, there are so many services that you might be offering to the clients. Is there any particular service that is of your personal interest that, like developing in something like that?
Well, in this diverse arena of this technology space, I mean, it's really difficult to pick one, but of course, AI/ML, that's my personal favorite, I would say.
Perfect.
And the reason for that, I would say, is that the way it can be incorporated in our day-to-day life, from a theoretical model to a practical implementation in day-to-day use cases. So that's the strength of AI/ML, and that's what is most appealing about it.
That's amazing, sir. I mean, it's glad that you mentioned that, AI/ML is not just restricted to the technology world. However, even daily household, daily routine things can be transformed. And I think that is somewhere. And I think that was not possible just a few years ago, but now it's a reality. And I think everybody is striving towards achieving that. Which brings me to a question I wanted to ask. Is there any specific client or any specific case study that you would like to mention wherein you leveraged the technology of AI into, making the processes more efficient?
Yeah, sure, Simran. This AI-based screen damage detection solution, which we have recently developed. That is something which I would say is a game changer for some of our customers who are into mobile-based insurance, trade-in of mobile devices. Now, this solution, what it does is it basically, based on an AI model, it basically assesses the severity of the damage on the mobile screen.
Right.
That's the core objective of this solution.
Okay.
Now, with this, these organizations, these customers, they can bring in more efficiency. They can reduce their cost. They can increase the overall accuracy. And if I talk about pure stats, what we have heard from these customers, they have reduced 70% of their time in assessing a particular claim.
That's great.
They have reduced their overall cost in assessing a particular claim by 15%. Accuracy that has been tremendously increased. Why? Because being a AI model, it would always bring in consistent results. So manual interference or chances of manual mistakes, those are not there. And of course, establishing trust with their customers. So that is another thing which they have achieved with this solution, because customers can in a transparent way, they can see what exactly are the trade-in values they are getting, or whatever insurance claims are being processed, the way they are being processed, and there's of course a consistent way in which it is being done. So chances of disputes, chances of mistrust by customers, so that is also greatly reduced with this.
Any particular industry that has benefited out of it?
Insurance primarily.
Right.
And there are mostly, like Apple, they have their trade-in programs. Right. So industries who are into trade-in of mobile devices, they can leverage this solution.
Right. I think in the era where mobile devices are the most used devices on the earth, I think this solution will present a very advanced solution for them perfectly. Right. Which brings me to a thing that I wanted to ask. So as we build a house, making its foundation, making sure the architecture is perfect to our requirement, it is very essential, right? So like, how much do you think the importance of constructing a framework and a better software architecture are important to, building an app that serves such a wide purpose?
You rightly mentioned having a strong base. If you are constructing a building, having a strong base is very important.
Yes, absolutely.
So same way, architecture is important for the software solutions. Nowadays, what happens is that, and I've seen this practically happening in many software organizations, where they will start working on development of a particular solution without looking at or without building the base of that solution.
Absolutely, right.
That's where this architecture comes into play. Now, if you haven't defined the base of your solution, of course, you cannot expect the right results from that particular solution.
Exactly.
You don't know, since you haven't planned for it, you don't know how it is going to behave in a particular situation.
Right.
You don't know in terms of security how exactly it is going to behave. What are the kind of security issues that will be coming later on? In terms of performance, how exactly it would be performing when there are, let's say, millions of users coming into the app or the web portal simultaneously. So how exactly it's going to behave?
Yeah.
So that of course is very much essential for any software.
Yeah, I think framework and software architecture have to be strong if you're looking to build something that you want to last. Right? So there might be a lot of clients that are reaching out to you with, they need something related to AI developed for them, some software, some app. With the advancement of this increase, what are the ethical considerations that you keep in mind before developing any of the solutions for your clients?
Ethical considerations, I would say that is applicable in each and every industry, in
Right.
each and every domain, whatever you are working on. I mean, of course, ethics, ethical considerations should be part of that. With AI, it becomes more important to have those considerations well in place.
Right.
It's very easy for a AI model to start behaving in a particular way only if it's not implemented properly or the data set is not fed in properly.
Perfect. Right.
It can definitely start giving some biased results. So that's the biggest issue when it comes to AI implementation. I would say a biggest challenge. I would say not issue. Of course, that's a challenge. We can overcome that.
Yeah.
There are certain ways in which we should be dealing with a particular AI model. There are certain ways in which we should be providing right data set to a particular AI model, so that ensures that biasness is not there in AI model. And on top of that, what we do, of course, in terms of quality checks,
Right.
Assessing the results regularly on a periodic basis,
Right.
that's also very essential to basically gauge how exactly the AI model which you may have developed for a particular customer is behaving, and what's the tweaking that is required. In that particular AI model.
I think I would like to ask, there are some clients that might have some sensitive personal information which they do not wish to disclose. And when you're dealing with AI, when you're dealing with machines, you have to specifically take care of that.
Yep.
So along with the ethical considerations, how do you manage how do you manage keeping the personal sensitive information secure for the client?
So for us, every customer's data is equally important. And of course, there have to be a defined framework. There have to be a defined guidelines in
Right.
the way that data has to be handled or utilized in different models which we are implementing for the customer. Apart from handling it responsibly, in certain domains, there are compliances that are applicable. We have to follow all those compliances to ensure that customers' data is not compromised in any stage of the overall development life cycle.
Right.
So that's a practice, I would say, which we rigorously follow in MoogleLabs
Right.
To ensure the sanctity of the customer data.
Right. Perfect. I think when privacy is followed, when the compliances are followed, when, the ethical considerations are in place, and like you mentioned, the data sets are also trained properly, I think the AI can function not as a threat, but as a support to a lot of industries,
Yeah,
right? I think that is a misconception people have.
Exactly. It's just the way we look at it. It's just the way we are utilizing it.
Exactly.
That's kind of defines whether it's a threat or it's going to be useful for us.
It is, exactly. Now, like we're talking about the future, it brings me to an interesting question that I've been wanting to ask you, sir. Imagine it is year 2030 and we are way ahead in future, and you have not in your general field that you've been working on for so long, but you've changed your field completely. Like, you're not working with DevOps, blockchain, AI. You've completely shifted into a different, set of service. What is that one innovation that you would be, wanting to master apart from the specific stuff that you've been doing?
Interesting question. I think it would definitely be somewhere around sustainability.
Right.
I really hope that by 2030, there are means and mediums which are already available, which may have taken care of this already.
Yeah.
But if not, then that is one field I would really want to work on.
Yeah.
And that's if you look at look into today's scenario, current scenario, it is of utmost importance and a focus area for many organizations across the world.
Yes.
Already some initiatives have already started in this particular area, but I still feel there is a lot to be done.
Yes.
And if you ask me on what exactly that innovation would be, or what exactly that difference which I would like to bring in, rather than these organizations at a macro level working on this particular problem, I would really want the masses to be involved into
exactly.
this. Each and everybody looking into this and accordingly acting responsibly.
Right.
So you have seen these apps like Google Fit and various apps which keep track of our physical activities, or our heartbeats, or BP, and all those things. I definitely want to have this kind of app for decarbonization, for sustainability.
Right.
So for each and every activity that I am doing, I should be able to see what exactly is my carbon footprint.
Exactly.
Right. And how exactly it's going to impact the overall environment. So that's because whether it's your respiration process or it's your metabolism process, carbon dioxide is a byproduct of all of these.
Right.
Other than that, there are many other activities in which human beings are kind of contributing towards increasing of this carbon footprint.
Right.
So I definitely want this kind of app to be available, because if you are aware of what exactly the metrics are, what exactly the values of my activities which are going to impact this overall climate, overall environment, then only I can act responsibly on that. So that is something which I would definitely
Amazing. I think that brings me to an observation that I made this year. I was in Dubai, and there's a place that they've built which is called the Future Museum. And in that Future Museum, I think a lot of it was on the major factor of sustainability. They have, I think, planned on developing, genetically mutated trees. Like you mentioned, the carbon footprint and stuff like that. I think we are reaching there as a country as well. I think there are a lot of advancements happening in India as well. And surely with leaders like you, I'm sure we will reach there in no time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned, countries and many organizations, they have started working towards this particular area already. There are steps being taken, but still a lot to be done.
A lot to be done. Yes. I mean, yes, for sure.
And for that, I would say each and everybody is equally responsible for that. And that's the reason I want to have the masses to be part of it. App on their phone, which they can see what exactly they are producing on a daily basis. What are the improvements which they can do. If I can see my metrics, I'll definitely
be more careful.
Be more careful. If I'm responsible enough for the sustainable future, I'll definitely act on it.
Perfect. I think that's a perfect example. I think a lot of our viewers will look into this after, our discussion. That's hopefully, amazing.
Yes. Hopefully, yes.
In your journey, I'm sure, like you mentioned, there are several projects that you've been dealing with and several clients that you've been dealing with. Was there any specific project which didn't go to plan, but somehow taught you a valuable lesson?
That happens. That's what experience is, right?
Yeah, I mean,
every other project, every other assignment which we work on, that brings up some kind of learnings for us, right? One of my projects, I can definitely remember that distinctly. That was for a retail customer. We were supposed to build a AI model for that particular retail customer. Wherein this AI model will predict the customer behavior for different retail products that are available in their stores. So we started working on this. We got an initial data set from the customer. we used that data set for training the AI model.
Right.
From an implementation point of view, we were very excited about it, and we thought that we were going perfectly fine with the overall progress of that particular project.
Okay.
However, when the model got implemented and we started looking at the results that were coming out of that model, those were kind of shocking at that point of time. Now we
have improved.
Make a fun about it. We laugh about it, but at that point of time, of course, it was a major issue, major challenge which we were facing. Now that model, so if I give you some examples, so it would start recommending woolen clothes for somebody in tropical region, tropical climate.
Oh, right? Okay.
It will start recommending gardening tools for somebody who's looking for some fashion accessory.
Okay.
So that was the kind of anomaly that was coming into that particular model. We of course talked to client, looked at the root cause. Of course, it was the data, and that's what client had, because initially client kind of confirmed that he has the data and you can base your model on top of that.
Yeah.
But after this problem, we realized that it is not covering all aspects, all scenarios of the outcomes that should be coming from the AI model. Now, we dealt with it. We had different discussions with client. We dealt with this particular problem. Project was delivered. But lesson learned was that we should not be relying on our customers for the data. Even if they are providing the data, of course, you can use that data, but you should have your own repository for the data covering diverse use cases, diverse domains. That's what we learned. And from that point, we have created this repository wherein for different domains, different types of use cases, covering all aspects of those particular use cases, we have these data set available, which we use for training different models or utilize them in different projects.
Great.
Of course, after discussion with our customers on what exactly we are going to do, and that's a key, I would say, in every project wherein we keep complete transparency with our customers, different stakeholders that are involved in that particular project. So whatever we are doing, whatever approach we are following, whatever data we are utilizing, we kind of involve our customers into that entire process so that they also know what is the expected outcome out of it.
Right. I think
so there are no surprise at the end of it.
Which encourages transparency.
Exactly.
Client is in the know, everything is communicated properly. Right. I think the key that you mentioned is that you should have your own research before you start expecting results. I think is essential for every industry currently dealing with technology. So since you've been working for so long, I just wanted to know, how do you maintain your work-life balance in this such, consuming tech world and tech-driven career of yours?
It's not easy, but I consciously try to do certain things so that I can maintain this work-life balance.
Right.
One, of course, is plan. So whatever projects, whatever you're working on, you need to have a defined plan for that, so that you know that from this time to this time, this is the activity which I need to perform. And based on that, of course, I can plan my overall day or overall schedule in a better way. That is one thing. Prioritization, that's another thing which we need to focus on. You may be having hundreds of things which you need to do on a particular day, but again, prioritizing that helps. What exactly is really essential to be done in next 1 hour, in next 2 hours, and so on. Part of planning, I would say. And in this digital world, utilizing all these time management tools, your meetings, different Slack channels, communication channels. You can set up your Outlook calendar, these smartwatches, phones, these kind of aid in doing this planning better and creating that defined boundary, which is essential for maintaining this work-life balance, I would say.
That's perfect. I think you were highlighting the fact that you have to plan, and as future...
That's the key.
Yeah, I think as future advances, people will get more occupied with their careers, and I think planning and prioritizing will help them a lot to, set clear goals and achieve their targets. Which brings me to a question, sir. There are a lot of startup businesses happening, a lot of budding entrepreneurs around the globe who are, focusing on building their own dreams into a reality. What is that one advice you would like to give them to, never stop doing what they're doing? Because I'm sure you also faced a lot of challenges while MoogleLab was being initiated. What is that one advice that would, motivate them to continue the journey so that they can reap the fruits afterwards?
Okay. First step is taking those initial strides towards the journey. Whatever your goals, whatever your targets are,
right,
taking those initial steps. With dedication, with commitment to achieve that particular goal.
Right.
A lot of times we discuss about will or skill, what is important. I always say that will is important. If you have the will, skill will follow.
Right.
You'll be able to achieve that skill, whatever you want to achieve or whatever is necessary to achieve that particular goal. Whatever skills are required, you'll be able to kind of learn those, acquire those. But that will has to be there. And as we started with this conversation by saying that this is a rapidly
evolving
arena.
Yeah.
In that particular case, being dynamic also is the key.
Yes,
you have to be dynamic enough. You always have to embrace the changes, taking it head on, taking it as a challenge. And of course, and as I mentioned, if you have the will, you will be able to
succeed,
survive this or adapt yourself as per the changing needs.
I think that is the most important point when it comes to, youngsters who are not very patient with their outcomes. This will help them maintain the rigor and keep on going.
Exactly.
I think that's an amazing note to end on, which brings me to a very interesting segment that we've specially made for you. We have a set of questions that we want you to answer rapidly. These are questions that are, will give people a little more insight about who you are and how you think. Okay. All right. Are you ready, sir? These have to be fast and I'll ask you. Okay.
I'll try my best.
Okay, perfect. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
So if I am able to predict these natural calamities, of course, a lot of preventive measures, corrective measures can be taken upfront.
Exactly.
And that's where we talked about that 2030 app also.
Yeah.
So that's where I would be able to kind of drive the masses towards that.
That is amazing. I think I got goosebumps listening to that. I think you will somehow make it a possibility. I believe in you. Next question. What's the most interesting thing that you've learned recently?
Applications of Gen AI.
Okay.
So, application of Gen AI, imagining those scenarios or imagining those use cases where it can be implemented, it's really exciting, I would say. Recently, I was looking at one of the videos where they were talking about that maybe we are already at that stage or will be reaching that stage in very near future, wherein I'm looking at the TV, I'm looking at a particular movie, but that movie is not pre-directed or pre-scripted.
Okay.
So whatever I think, that would kind of become the story of that particular movie.
Oh, so based on your...
based on my thoughts, the Gen AI engine, the Gen AI model will kind of develop that particular video and it will present it in front of me.
Okay.
So the way I want a particular movie to be presented.
Yeah.
The overall outcome which I am expecting from that particular movie, the end of that movie, climax of that movie, I will be defining it on the runtime, and I'll be able to say it live. That's the most interesting thing.
That is so interesting. You will be the director, producer, owner, actor of the entire movie.
That's right.
That is amazing. There will be no copied cinema after that. People will make original movies for sure.
It's all original.
It's all original.
Whatever you're thinking, you can see that.
Perfect. I think that is interesting. Generative AI.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. My next question is, what is your favorite song, and do you listen to it when you're feeling low?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that good in singing, but I'll just tell what exactly the song is. So,
yeah.
जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई
मुश्किल,
हाँ,
जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए,
जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए,
हाँ,
तुम देना साथ मेरा, ओ हमनवा.
Amazing.
And that हमनवा can be anybody. It can be God.
Right.
So whenever I'm feeling low, I basically listen to this particular song, and as I mentioned, Hamnama can be
anything,
anything, anybody. It can be God, it can be my parents, it can be my wife, it can be my children, it can be my colleagues.
Perfect. I think amazing. Okay. So if you are given a travel machine and you could travel to either future, past, or stay in the present, which era would you choose?
I love to be in present only. That's a mantra of my life. I follow that very religiously. And then I kind of advise that to all my colleagues, all my friends, family, that enjoy your life based on whatever is there in present.
Yeah.
But if at all possible, going in past, I think that would really help me learn some things which we may not be aware of those things currently.
Right.
Because right now our learnings are based on what our grandparents have told us, whatever is there in history books, whatever is there in social media. But I still feel that there must be lot many things which are there in the past, which we are currently not aware of. And if I can go into past, I can look into those things, I can learn from these things, and of course, based on those things, what improvements which we can do now.
I think if you've said it correctly, stay in the present and it'll be a present for you. I think that's amazing. Okay, last question. If you were left on an island with nothing, what is that one thing that you would want to carry with yourself?
Okay. Mobile phone is not allowed, right?
No. We can skip that. Yeah, we can skip.
I think a matchbox. Because I think...
a matchbox, interesting. Why?
Yeah. Because I watch these National Geographic or Discovery channels a lot.
Right.
A lot of those survival techniques, I think I should be able to manage that. But lighting a fire, that is not my cup of tea.
Okay.
So a matchbox would be handy.
That is amazing. I think that brings us to the end of the podcast, and I must say it has been a really amazing and interesting conversation that we had. I got to learn a lot, and I'm sure whosoever will listen to it will also get to learn a lot from your insights. Leaders like you who are shaping today and tomorrow for us, it helps us a little better when we know what you are going through and what has helped you achieve success. And I think it will be of great help to a lot of youngsters as well who are aspiring to build a future in a career-oriented world. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks. I really appreciate you taking time out.
Thanks, Simran. Pleasure is all mine.
Perfect. Thank you.